want to talk about what's been going on in my life as of late. If you're not aware of it, um, for a while now, my now ex Holly Watkins and others have been fucking with me and messing with me around town. Um, Trying to play games with me and do skits, basically, and try to I think it's just to try to say that I'm an asshole, but it's like people don't understand and they don't care why somebody responds or does the things that they do. Um, uh, and they don't really give a shit about that person's feelings, and they'll just try to make it about them, and that's what they've been doing, because of whatever thing that I did that's originally started, the first part of it, at least, like, because I was getting picked on at restaurants for a while because one restaurant spread around misinformation, out of context shit to other restaurants. They didn't show that I was picked on and whatever. Probably, I don't think that they did, because it wouldn't make any sense with what people have been doing to me. But my ex-girlfriend, I would talk to her about it, like I would talk to Holly all the time about what's been going on with the restaurants and stuff, and then people even, out in public, at other places, that weren't even, like associated with like the restaurant business or whatever, would know about, like, they would act funky as shit and would mess with me, and kind of like, you know they would do like these weird, it would be so weird because it would just like, everything that I would say would happen the next time I went into a certain restaurant, you see what I'm saying, or store or whatever. Like I would try to I would talk about something, and then the next time I went in there, it was like deja vu, almost. And then they would smile, because they were like playing like a little skit thing, right? And it was like, it's been like that for a long ass time, I started to realize it way back. I was working, uh, for a specific place, and it was just like, I had seen and realized, that it was happening, at this place and stuff, and then I would tell my girl about it, and basically, like, it got to the point where, she seemed like she almost didn't even care that much, and just kind of like to suck it up, and that hurt me really bad. um, but she still listened to me or whatever, but she would end up trying to, uh, trying to like console me and stuff. Well, at one point, because she had done it herself about certain things, knowing that how hurt I was, she started to do it, over, like, I remember one time I said something about black people liking her probably because she's really thick, and then we were like talking about it, and said I was gonna like fight them if I see it in public or something. And then and then I had said, and I knew, I think that her roommates were listening, and so I said something like, Will and Nick were, if you're listening, let's see what you got, because I know you guys are in on it, or something like that. And then fucking around, because like I've seen some stuff happen with them, and like I know you guys are in on it and stuff, yada yada yada, and let's see what you got, or something like that. And then lo and behold, the next time we went out to like the movies, this black guy was trying to hit on her, and looking at her and stuff, and then kind of like looked at her butt and was just kind of like, acting like she had a really big butt and stuff. And I was like, you need to chill, and it was like this whole thing. And then like the next time, we were in her neighborhood, and she had to take care of the neighbor's dogs. I ended up going with her, and then we went to go look at the dogs, and the neighbor walks out and waves at her, in a way, and then they both kind of lock eyes in the wave, and it's almost like, you know what I mean? It's almost like she was fucking, trying to like say something, with that, and it was just this whole thing. And then she looked directly at me like, "What are you gonna do? Like, you gonna fight him and shit?" Just to try to piss you off and try to make you seem small and embarrass you. You know what I mean? And she doesn't even realize, like, I'm not gonna do that, and it was just like me talking, and then you would try to embarrass somebody, over it. It's just ridiculous. Like, how ridiculously small-minded people are, and evil. Like, and she was like this our whole relationship. She would lie about shit. She would, like, white lie about things. I said something about, don't lie to me, and if you do, you better tell me quickly, depending on what kind of situation it is, you know but you shouldn't be lying to me about anything outside of, like, there being, like, a gun to my head and somebody's gonna shoot me if you don't lie to me or something, and then you tell me later. Maybe something like that. But she ends up lying to me over fucking croissants and just playing with it and being a dick about it, and trying to act like shit's funny, or like just, not a big deal. Yeah, like, just not a big deal. And then she basically, she um, after that, I was mad about that, and our whole relationship, it stuck with me about, that she did stuff like that. And you know, uh, when this one thing happened where, at work, where I was dealing with, so I was dealing with this guy, like, I was dealing with Slice of Life, right? So I was working at Slice of Life when this stuff started happening. And then once I stopped working at Slice of Life, I basically went to, what's it called? I went to Zooters, and then Zooters, when I was working there, this guy named Brian Brown and this another guy named Chase were fucking with me, and they would always try to, like, passive aggressively threaten me, and they were constantly trying to fuck up my life and, just mess with me and shit like that. They had sent around stuff to other jobs and tried to be, bad with stuff to other jobs. They tried to, like, they try to, like, talk to other people in other restaurants, and, like, it just, like, spread around town. Like, I've never seen some shit like that, how it just spreads around town. Like, you do one thing that somebody doesn't like or something, and then everybody is fucking on you, like, as if, like, you're some bad person, they don't even know you. And so, basically, like, it spread around town, whatever they told, and I had even tried to say, like, you can tell people shit, because I don't care, because, I'm trying to, diffuse the situation and give them no power, but, which was dumb, because I knew that they were going to try and attack me again, you know what I mean, and try to, like, make me look bad with clips and shit that they have at the restaurant of me, and would just spread it around. They were taking video and voice recordings and spreading them around to people and just shit like that. I think they were fucking with me too because of certain situations that happened, and I would play along with it, and it was like this weird thing, like, because people just, they don't have anything better to do besides fuck with people, you know what I mean? And yeah, I would just kind of play around with this shit and try to, like, just get some peace, and I just couldn't at work. It was just ridiculous. Like, they were constantly trying to, like, fuck with somebody, and they would make fun of the fact that my dog was dying and just stuff like that. Well, basically, yeah, my dog was dying, and I was hurt, over this place doing the same kind of stuff as the last place, and that was being spread around town, all this fuck shit, right? Well, this basically, ends up being, like, really traumatic for me, and then they go and fucking what am I trying to say? They go and they're making fun of my dog and stuff, and I'm dealing with that, and then they tried to get me in trouble for my dog,
and tried to say that my dog was, dying and whatnot, and like, or tried to get my dog basically in trouble because he was dying and shit, and they thought that I wasn't, like, me and Holly weren't feeding them or something as much, which at times we were struggling. We've been struggling with money and stuff like that to survive out here because this country is a shithole, and the people that I'm working with are shitholes and would do something like this. Um, they basically, like, uh, you know, they they ended up saying stuff to Holly's job and spreading it around town. And so Holly ends up seeing it and saying the same jokes, parroting the same jokes and shit that they did, um, and trying to make me feel like shit, just like she said, I had made a joke there, and it was like so specific, and trying to play along with their bullshit. And I had been talking about her too, trying to play along with her bullshit, and I had said, like, try to get her to hate me and blah 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 because I don't love her anymore or something like that. And it was supposed to be a joke, but it was also like I started to realize, like, she was one of them too. She's one of those types of people that does that kind of shit. And she she basically would hear this, and from that day on, whenever she heard it, it was not the same. She ended up, she would say the same joke about, like, the pee pee dance joke that I said at work and just stuff like that. And she ended up not wanting to talk to me about it. And that was one of the rules that we had, was like, if there's something wrong, you have to talk about it. Well, women don't like to talk about it many times. And she ended up not talking about it. She doesn't want to say anything to me. She doesn't want to make it a big deal, and she just kind of kept doing the same lovable things that she always has done. You know what I mean? And I also had said stuff at work about how, um, you know, women, and and I think her, might be trying to take my money or something like that, because that's the experience I have with women. And they try to take your money, or they try to make your life hell once they don't like you, or they do something like that. Well, or they just say things about you, and it's like a bad breakup or whatever, or cheat on you, and she she was, like, not talking for our, like, whole relationship. She would always deny it, that she saw anything, and she would just act like it's like some sort of, and act like I was crazy, what I'm trying to say, and act like, because she knows that I want her to be honest, but she doesn't want to be honest. And that was one of the things I said I would always break up with her for. It would take a while, but I would end up breaking up with her. And just stuff like that. Like, she's clearly either just trying to stay because she's been with me for such a long time, and wants to, like, be in a home, and just that kind of thing. And she really doesn't love me that much, and she would try to act like she doesn't love me that much, and just all this other shit. And it was just like, you really don't love me, like, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that you don't love me, and that you don't want to be with somebody who talks shit. You know what I mean? Because she's always said that if you talk shit, then I wouldn't want to be with you. I'm like, well, people talk shit. It's like, that happens. You know what I mean? Something like that would happen in life, and that's just kind of like, somebody could be in a really bad mood and say something that they don't mean. It's kind of crazy. As long as, like, they come and apologize and talk about it, that's, like, completely different. You see what I'm trying to say? If you apologize and talk about it, and then it's like, if we get to an accord, on something, and then the person breaks that, then you could be mad at them. And then if they keep breaking it, at some point, then you break up with them, I guess. But unless it's like that serious, where, if they say it, and that's like the last straw. But on top of it, it's like, I want to be kind of with somebody who can take a few punches, you know what I mean, in a relationship. So yeah, it got really bad in our relationship with that kind of stuff. Like, she once I left Zooters, I was in shambles, and I was dealing with them spreading stuff around to her and whatever, and my dog dying. Well, I ended up trying to contact because I felt like my life was imploding. This guy named H. Lee, and this guy's been a rival of mine for a very long time, and he's been trying to get after me and dogs. Well, when he was trying to get after me and dogs, a lot, or he wasn't really that much recently until right before this happened. He was like, he added me and stuff like that, because I had said to other people about him different things, and I was talking shit about him because he's fucking stupid. Like, he says a lot of things that just aren't true, and I was basically also trying to get a hold of him because I wanted to see in this really bad time. I was like, if anybody can convince me that people are good, because I was dealing with like believing that there's even people that are good out here. If anybody can convince me that people are good, it would be this guy, because I have a huge rival with him, and it's just like this big thing, and it's almost as if like it's almost as if this would be like a good qualifying thing at Telltale, that to see, if to see if to see if what's it called, to see, if like he could be a good person to me, and maybe it would change my mind, or maybe if he's cordial, at least I'll at least not feel like people are just evil. That's what I had been feeling like for a long time, is that people are just downright. I mean, I don't even, like, they come up with something, like if you say something wrong, or if you look at them even in the wrong way, they take it, and it's like from then on, then they can't love you anymore. That's how, or it goes downhill, from there, and it's like not the same as, and that's, nobody likes to talk about shit, nobody wants to, nobody wants to like say, how they feel and get to the bottom of things, and yeah, like with him, I tried to say stuff, and we were arguing and whatever, and I had set it up in a way. I was telling the person who got in contact, or the people actually, or the person, yeah, who got in contact with him, and I think I mentioned to someone, more than one person, that to contact him, but yeah, he basically, I said, like, if we don't get along, then we can go back to trolling each other and make each other's lives hell and shit, basically trying to say that, I want to, like, I just was trying to like spice shit up and be a troll, and just kind of like I was just, dealing with this whole thing, and it's crazy that people are like this, where they, try to fuck with you, and they try to make your life, a living hell over nothing. But yeah, I mean, he ends up, we were arguing, and he was getting mad, whatever, and so I'm, at this point, I'm breaking down, I'm snapping, I start saying wild shit. I say stuff like I killed Holly, and I'm gonna get your business, and like, like there's like a bunch of dead dogs laying all over the property and shit, and just like a bunch of bullshit, trying to deal with all this stuff, and it's like, because I'm snapping at this point, like I'm just like, I had enough, like with my life, like I'm just saying a bunch of wild shit, and Holly overhears it sometimes. Like one time I think she was listening when she tried to act like she was sleeping, and I was kind of like freaking the fuck out, and just, because my dog, one of my best friends, like one of my favorite dogs, is dying, like I just haven't been feeling the same, since. I just kind of don't want to, like, like life isn't okay, and yeah, I mean, it's just been really hard, and just I've just been struggling with that, and other, other stuff, so it's just, yeah, like it's been really hard, and I was trying to talk to her at one point about it, and she didn't really want to talk about it the way I thought that she would want to talk about it. Like, she didn't have as much care, in her like voice, compared to like other times. And I could tell that it was just over kind of thing. Like I can kind of sense like it was just over, and just kind of like not even the same. And it's like this whole thing, because basically I'm trying to like I have this thing where I try to fit in too, and I try to say things that they say or whatever, and I even told her about this shit, like with the jobs, and it just got to where they were, really on my ass, and I tried to just act like them and be like almost misogynistic and whatever, and it got to the point where, then they would just spread around completely out of context things about me and just try to make me look bad, and that kind of shit just makes me, it infuriates me, you know what I mean? Because you have no more freedom of speech. You can't even like try to like say anything wild anymore. It's just you have to say how you feel, and if that, and you know what I'm trying to say. And it's if you don't do that, then they're gonna get you. Like and it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like every little thing that you say, every little thing that you do, kind of thing. It's so crazy, and even my girl, like she just is real, like she was real edgy about stuff. But yeah, so like I'm trying to talk to her about things and talk to her about like the comment situation, and she just didn't seem as interested as usual. Before, even with Nightwolf, she cried her eyes out when Tiger Wolf killed Nightwolf, where she killed her son, and they were in the cage together, and we were crying together and stuff. And then with H. Lee, the whole thing with H. Lee was just that, he was acting like a dick to me and whatever, and then he ends up trying to get a hold of some her and some of the people that I talked about. Like I had said something like I do decoy with Nelson Valera, which I don't. This is like this decoy guy I went to like twice, so I tried to fuck with him, and I said I did decoy, with him, and like to get with him, and I was just gonna start up with this other guy named Mo, who, Mo was one of Nelson's friends, and I kind of knew that. And I remember I had said something to him. In videos, or in the protection training thing, and I had talked to him about, or like we were arguing. I had said something to him, and he basically was like, and I had said something like even racist sounding to him just to, piss him off. And he basically said something like, oh, you like, because he came at me first. He said that you don't know what you're doing and yada yada yada. Even though, I've had dogs that are fully trained dogs and whatever, and he tries to act like I'm not good at decoying, and it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the nature of the dog. You know what I mean? You really don't do anything, as a decoy, and like, because I've started training with this guy, like he really doesn't do anything that is different than what I do. He just does weird faces and just tries to get it out of them the same way that I do with my dogs. You just kind of like, you try to work them and try to see if you can pull that out of them. There's not really any sort of science to it so much as like if the dog just naturally wants to respond to somebody, in their face doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's just he's been trying to set me up for a long time, because he talked to Nelson and their friends, and then H. Lee too, and yeah, and it's like everybody's been trying to be against me, and I've still been going to decoy with this guy because I'm trying to get as much info on him, to try to help my cause as I can, and it's like, because I know he's trying to spread around bullshit about me. And he won't ever let me take videos unless it's at certain times, and whatever, and tries to, my phone will fall down, you know what I mean? Because like he tries to make it fall down, like he'll step on, I was trying to film the other day, and then it's like, he knocked it over, and it's like, yeah, this whole thing has been going on, because he's, and he's telling people I don't know what I'm doing and shit, because I don't know how to agitate a dog, and I've been trying to tell him, like, your dog should want to engage somebody just walking up, like, looking like a decoy, you know what I mean? So, yeah, and like, but that's not really true. I'm just trying to see if his dogs will jump at somebody who's not doing anything. But yeah, it's just, I'm trying to fuck with them and shit, back, and just kind of trying to make him, look stupid, because he does. He like these people are all stupid, man. Like they try to make it like this huge thing, when it's not, and then like try to make it like into a problem, always. Like they try to make you look bad. They try to act like you're not a good decoy, and just stuff like that. So, it's crazy that they try to do this shit, because they constantly, and then they'll try to act like they're helping you, because they're trying to like push you, you know what I mean, too. Like they'll try to hate on you and try to act like they're helping you, and will push you into doing this. And it's like tough love, and it's just all this shit, man. It's like you have to try to decipher all this stuff, in day-to-day life, and it's fucking exhausting. But yeah, so like they've been getting after me. They even talked to a bunch of other decoys and people who are really famous and stuff, because of stuff that I said, because they were trying to push me into it. And at this point, I'm just snapping and breaking down and just saying a bunch of wild shit, you know what I mean, about people. But it's a lot of it is true, though, that I was saying. And people just they don't like it, and they get mad, and they kind of act like you're some crazy guy or whatever. And it's been really rough, and it got so bad to where famous people were involved, like Batista, and people that are associated with my jiu-jitsu club, and they start hearing stuff, and then this stuff is being spread around, and I'm trying to at this point be a troll, because I might as well just full on troll people and shit, and whatever, and try to be famous, because that's how you get famous in this country. And it just was like this whole thing, right? And people like even Joe Rogan has seen some of the stuff with the election I talked about, and they did all this crazy shit with the election that I had said somebody should shoot Trump in the ear, and then all of a sudden Trump gets shot in the fucking ear. Like, I said, like, all this crazy shit happened. Like, I was talking about, like, over time I was talking about like different, I wanted to get into different YouTube venues, like with like military and yada yada yada. I had said I was military, and I said all this wild shit, and it just, all this stuff happened because I'm like hurting, because I'm just like, they made me out to be a bad person, and like, what do I do now? You know what I mean? Because no one's gonna believe me, even if I do and say good things. It's never gonna like even matter. I felt like, and I've been feeling like it kind of won't, because people just hold something in them for their entire lives, and like, one thing that you said, it's like that's how it seems. So like, now what the fuck do I do? You know what I mean? It's really bad, man. This country is like getting really bad. But basically, like, I'll go through all the things that happened with all like the YouTube stars and stuff that I had talked about and was doing like weird trolls about, and just things like that. But basically, my girl, like my ex-girl, she she basically, she would hear all this stuff from them. Yeah, it was okay. So I had said something like to my girl. I had said something like, or I mean, to Mo. I went to Mo's house to do decoy stuff, and I had said some wild shit, right? And I was saying stuff like, I'm a dog fighter and all this other stuff, and then I do it with Nelson Valera, and I had said some stuff like, I have HPV, and I think I have AIDS, because I was dealing with like the idea that I had a bunch of nosebleeds and shit, just a bunch of wild stuff, and they sent that to Holly, and they thought originally that Holly wasn't alive, you know what I mean? They thought that Holly was dead basically, or something like that, and they had tried to knock me over and attack me with the dog, and try to say something like, and this is while I don't even know if they're joking or not. They tried to, they knocked me over and then tried to put Gabo on me, actually, and I own Gabo now, but which wouldn't have been good for them. But they tried to act like I killed Holly, because H. Lee said that to them. You see what I'm saying? And it was like this whole big thing. I basically like get up and kind of like play along with it and take off, you know, and they let me leave, which is weird. Um, you know, and it's not really like an investigation. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, this whole weird thing. And yeah, it's just like, um, you know, it basically was, it was just this whole thing got all fucked up, you know, and I basically was like trying to talk to Holly about stuff, and you know, she would never admit that she heard anything, and she would always joke and say like I didn't hear anything and blah 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 blah, and you know, I didn't, you know, I didn't basically, you know, like you're full of shit. You don't know, like, you know, you keep saying I heard all this stuff, and she's trying to make me seem crazy because she won't talk about it because she wants me to be crazy and to hurt and to be, you know, like, you know, I didn't think that she wanted to be with me, right? So we end up going on a vacation, right, and all this other stuff, and they keep trying to fuck with me, you know, constantly. They kept trying to fuck with me. They would keep trying to do weird little skits, like she caught her, Mo, and you know, just my parents too. She got involved with my parents, and they were doing this weird stuff, right? And my neighbors now have heard it because Mo and Nelson, Nelson's what's it called? Nelson had a person that works around here, that he used to live around here, Nelson did, and that guy came over to try to investigate my dogs and shit, and came around and talked to my neighbors and stuff to keep like an eye on me, kind of thing. That's what the one neighbor was saying to me, and you know, they were trying to act like I was crazy and did all this other wild shit. And you know, because I had talked about them in the video and that they were fucking up my dogs, and they were trying to, like, you know, they were sabotaging my yard. Like one neighbor had 2 dogs that she got from the crackhead that was messing with me, who helped raise a pet raccoon to fucking chew up my garbage and stuff. And then one of the neighbors shot the raccoon, and then she blamed it on me, trying to fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like this whole big thing. And like I can't tell if like who's setting up who to try to come after me or whatever, but you know, or if she's, I mean, who's setting her up to come after me, because we already have bad blood, me and that neighbor. But she starts to fucking she starts to come after me, and she like drove behind me and rode me down, you know, was bitching at me for having dogs in the back of my thing and trying to get after me for something. And then the other neighbor, you know, that's what I was trying to say, she took her dogs, or like their family's dogs at one point, who were always running around the street and shit and doing a bunch of wild shit. She took her dogs and were fucking trying to you know, saying like, I'm gonna raise them and take care of them and give them lots of space. And then she put them next to my house. So it was like, now I had to deal with those 2 dogs barking and screaming all the time, because she didn't really like that. I had a bunch of dogs that were barking and screaming all the time and that were loud. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but you know, you didn't live here. She would act like she bought the house before I got there, but in reality, she wasn't living there. You know what I'm trying to say? So if I was living there for years, or over a year or whatever, before she even got there, how can you blame, you know what I'm saying? How do you blame me for that? You know, and it's not like you ever even told me, you know, because I already set everything up, you know what I mean? And it's not even like that. So it's like, yeah, you're shit out of luck. Like, even if you bought the house, it's like you weren't living there, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been living here with my dogs for a long time, and even then, it's like, this is farmland. It's supposed to be loud. The problem though is that when you buy dogs specifically to provoke my dogs and to piss me off, that is illegal. You're literally doing it for a malice reason, and I can prove that you've done it. And I told her to move her dogs, and she's like, I'm not gonna move them unless, like, I'll do it because I'm your friend or whatever. I'm like, we are not friends. I don't know you. I've never known you. Like, I don't want to be friends with anybody. You know what I'm saying? And she just tries to act like I'm a bad person for not wanting to be friends, and just all this other shit. And it's like, I don't want to be associated with you. I don't want to be friends with you. Nothing. And so she ends up getting those two dogs, and then they like they fucking ship them out, to one of her neighbor friends or whatever. And then Holly basically, it knows about all this type of stuff. They're talking in the neighborhood. They talk to Holly and just a bunch of wild shit, and Holly at this point is probably telling them bullshit about me, and that I'm losing my mind and blah 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 blah. And it's like, they're probably trying to figure out if I do drugs or whatever, because I was doing wild shit in the neighborhood, which is none of their fucking business. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, people just get up in your business now. It's fucking crazy. It's none of your fucking business what somebody else does. Okay? It's really not. Unless they attack you or do something violent to you, it's none of your business. You know what I mean? So, Holly basically, was talking to them, and she would act like she wouldn't, but I would know based on stuff that she would parrot about. When people parrot stuff, like they'll say things in a funny way, or like they'll make noises and stuff that are associated with something that you said, and then you can like put the pieces together, like that's what they are talking about basically. Like, it's like, they'll say, if I had mentioned something about Holly and I say that she was big, Holly would just be like, I'm big, and like, and then just act like she didn't say something. I'm just like, what the fuck was that? And she's just like, oh, nothing. I just, you know what I mean? Like, they're just like, and then she'll act like it's funny and just kind of walk away. I'm just like, bro, you can't talk about this shit. Like, you can't talk about your feelings and like, let's get to a resolve on it. And then it's like, I have to figure out if you're trying to just stay with me because of money, because you need a house, and because you have debt and shit, and you're gonna end up like breaking up with me. And like, she would try to act like she wants to get married with me, and was really interested in getting married, even though I had tried to put it off a little bit. And I was kind of like trying to think to myself, like, maybe she does just want me to stop, saying and doing a bunch of dumb shit, and wants me to marry her. And it was just like this whole thing, because it was also very, very sketchy. You know what I mean? Because it was sketchy that she would start to want to be married all of a sudden, and she was trying to get them some money. Well, yeah, it's like basically, all this shit happened, and then we went to see her parents, and her parents, knew about shit that I said, that I was gonna kill her and all this other crazy shit, because I've been trolling, and dealing with all this stuff. And her dad was like, and her mom and her were trying to threaten me in the car, acting like this and that, and then made the whole trip really fucked up. Like, they would constantly try to mess with me and fuck with me the whole trip. And then her mom showed her gun to me and was acting like I know how to use it, and I moved real quick at her, and she kind of like kind of almost stumbled, because she's not really like that, but she tries to act like she is. Anybody can have a gun, but it's like she, and I was just like, oh, okay, and it was just this whole big thing, like the granddad was saying shit, and like I was trying to sleep in the car, and then he would purposely swing the car to bang my head against the fucking car, in order to make sure I didn't go to sleep, and I didn't have a good time there, and just like was trying to piss off, piss them off and stuff, and just be a dick, the whole time, because of something that I said, bro. You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to feel like about this whole situation, like I got, like, you couldn't just come and talk to me, like just like use words, and not like you're just emotional bullshit, and actually talk. You know what I'm saying? Actually talk to me and try to like figure this shit out. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, by this time I don't trust any single one of you. I don't trust you. I don't think that you're good people, like that, whatever. And it's like this whole big thing. And I also didn't think that much into Holly, you know what I'm saying? Because Holly was, I didn't think good about Holly. Holly had taken pictures of, one of my dogs dying, right? And just like this whole thing, she took a picture of my dog. She had fucking puppies and stuff that like I didn't understand why they died. And I'm not saying that all like I'm trying to figure out which one specifically died because of her. But it was like I would tell her to feed the dogs, and then she would feed them, and I'd be like, okay, well, if you fed them, then they shouldn't be like this, right? Well, it's because she had given some dogs, I think, poison. Like I think the one female Mirage, she gave poison to her because of the symptoms and whatever. Now it could have been coccidia, but because of the symptoms, it was very funky. You know what I mean? It was extremely funky that that the way that dog died. And the crazy thing is that I had said a bunch of stuff about vets too, and I would call up a vet, and every single vet knew my voice and knew who it was, and would try and act like they didn't want to help me with my dog, and that they were trying to like scare me basically from going there, because they all knew who I was, and they would try to, they were like sounding like you don't want to come here because, they knew that I was trying to see if it was, because I had talked about this and my neighbors would spread this shit around. They knew I was trying to see if it was coccidia that killed the puppies, when it wasn't. It was her giving the puppy, giving the puppy fucking, what's it called? Rat poison. And it was just this whole big thing, with them fucking and trying to kill and murk my dogs, and hurt, like my life and my, over nothing. Because like she had thought that I had gave her, I had gave her HPV, and I was thinking I had AIDS. Well, the thing about the HPV thing too is that I didn't have HPV that wasn't in remission. I have HPV now, but it was in remission before I met her. And I also said some shit like I cheated on her and whatever else, and I didn't. And it's because I was trying to fuck with her back, and I also kind of thought that it was over. I mean, so I tried to like see if she would leave, and if she didn't leave, then she would, want to be with me and we can work it out. But she just didn't want to talk about shit, nothing. And it was just this whole big thing. Well, she basically, like there's times where I felt like she killed one of my dogs. Like she killed, fucking, Mirage, my dog, and the puppy that she loved. Like I think that she killed her because the symptoms were like her getting rat poison. The symptoms were like her getting rat poison or whatever, and it was like this big whole ordeal. And and then because I knew that, and that's why I was saying stuff too about like killing her and all this other stuff. Her parents tried to make it seem like they would attack me and come and find me or whatever, and it was like this whole big ordeal. And she killed one of my dogs, and she ended up, I think, killing Preacher Girl, even though I tried to put Preacher Girl down. That one was me. I ended up putting Preacher Girl down because she was old, and I had, slipped her something to quickly aid in that. Well, she basically, what am I gonna say? She basically, gave her more, I think, before we left for our trip, because Preacher Girl seemed fine and nothing would happen to her. At least that I was aware of. Like it was like a day or two after before we left, and so she was fine. And so I think that that she gave her rat poison, basically. Either that or it was my neighbor, but they were all in cahoots together. My mom killed Monster and gave Monster a drug and shit like that because of stuff that I had said, and they've been trying to hurt me about shit that I said, and it's been insane, you know what I mean? So, and then I had said something like, like trying to say like we should try to, like I had said stuff that was funny to try to fuck with the whole situation. And I was like, if you want to get me, put Monster down, and all this other stuff, because I was trying to act like it doesn't bother me. And these people actually did that shit. Like, they actually killed my puppy Monster. And, Yeah, and I'm not gonna let it stand. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do with this shit. But I have like police on, watching me at all times and shit. Them trying to make me look bad. They're probably gonna try to get a restraining order on me for Holly, even though she done all this shit. And I'll try to tell people like she's clearly lying, and they're all in on it. Like, I'm talking the police force is in on it. Like, I called up a polygraph test guy to try to, because I want to take a polygraph to prove that this is true. And it was a guy who I had said something like in one of the trolls, I said, make it like $600 so that I know that you know, and then if I say something about police or whatever, you won't do it, or you will, you know what I'm trying to say, or you will falsely read the polygraph or some crazy shit like that. Like, it's that serious over nothing. Like, I haven't done anything to anybody. I don't dogfight. I haven't had HPV. It's been in remission since before I met her, and that's why I didn't tell her. And she knew that there was like a little tiny bump on my penis. Like, it's not even like you can barely see it, because it's like, and everybody gets HPV. Every single person gets HPV in their lifetime, and just shit like that. And they've been trying to make me, out to be something. And to be, they're trying to, fuck with my life and shit. Because of stuff that I said that actually like Trump used in the election or whatever. And this sounds all crazy or whatever to maybe to somebody, but it's the truth. It's like my parents literally, like my mom literally, was threatening me after too, saying that she's not going to take a polygraph test and yada yada yada, and she's not going to prove that because she has nothing to prove, because, and you can tell in her voice that she's lying. Like, she's fucking lying. Like, she knows she put down Monster and they put down Preacher Girl, and then on top of it, 2 officers came to my house and fucking put down 2 of my dogs. Two of the dogs I got from Mo, and it was specifically the dogs I said to put down in this troll, trying to see if they would actually do that shit. And so they've been actually trying to fuck my whole place up and to fuck up my my animals and shit. And it's like, it's just a crazy fucking thing over nothing, literally over nothing. And just me saying stuff or whatever, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's been a nightmare, man. It's been like the craziest. But I kicked Holly out, and so now I have to figure out how I'm gonna prove with a polygraph test that I didn't do anything, and that she was in cahoots with people to kill my dog Preacher Girl, and to kill Mirage, because I think that because Mirage randomly, we were feeding her and Mirage randomly just had issues. And I've had coccidia issues before, but it was basically to where they set it up to where if I went to a vet to test for coccidia to see if that's what it was, they would try to then investigate my yard and shut it down. You see what I'm trying to say? And it's like they still want to even contact my yard. I mean, they still want to even like I talked on the phone with this one, and she was saying all the things that I said in the troll, basically she was saying all the same things that I said in the troll, and to do basically to confuse the shit out of me, and so that I don't know if you're just trying to fuck with me or whatever, or if you're trying to actually like see if it's coccidia, and then fucking what's it called, and then try to call people to shut down my yard. You know what I'm trying to say? Because like you're not supposed to be breeding if you have coccidia, but it's not. It's like my girl, I think, I know she pretty much, she put down Mirage, and she put helped with whoever else put down Preacher Girl, and they took videos and photos of my dogs before I left to go to on a trip, because I had to leave to go on a trip, and they made it that way that I had to leave to go on a trip in order to fucking with her, in order to fucking what's it called, I had to leave my dogs, and they weren't in the best condition. It was during the hurricane, but I knew that nothing was going to happen to them in the the cages and shit, and it was just this whole big thing because I had said stuff about how I'm going to like expose her and all this other shit, which I'm doing right now, you know, and I said all this crap, like, and I didn't cheat on her either, and I wanted to take a polygraph test for that. I mean, it's just this whole big thing, this whole crazy ass thing that happened, and yeah, now I have to prove that she did it, you know, and I have to spread that shit around, you know, so it's crazy, man. Like, even fucking Joe Rogan knows about this shit. Like, would make comments and stuff, like, specifically. And, like, I even said, like, to do this video. Like, I would say, like, do a video on this and a video on that. And then he would see it. And then fucking... And it's like, because people are spreading this shit around, trying to make me look bad, you know, and shut down my life, basically. And try to make it seem like I'm some type of bad person. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy. Like, over nothing. Over, like, this has started over literally like nothing.